Hi there, my name is FixFox and welcome back to Factorio. Folks, 2.0 is upon us. We are officially in the space age of Factorio. The DLC has been out for a week or two, and I've seen some really nifty builds online. I've seen some people absolutely lose themselves, get lost in the sauce, as it were, playing Factorio. And I am happy to provide with you my thoughts and feelings to this point. I've only got about 10 or 11 hours into the space age playthrough, but there's some meaningful things that I would like to share with you as part of the differences that come with space age. So I'm going to load up this save that I have here. This is about 11 hours in, nearly 12 hours in. And at this point, I can tell you that the game plays fairly similarly to how you would expect it in the original playthrough. For example, you start off by mining everything in the local patches. I am down to just the bare dregs of my original iron ore and copper patches, it looks like. And maybe the biggest thing that is a difference in the early game is actually to be found in the tech. I'm the kind of person I really enjoyed going through the early game again and again and again and kind of getting it down to a science. And there's been a pretty massive change. Now you are automatically going to research green circuits and steam power as you craft plates. 50 iron plates are going to be required to get yourself up to steam power, and then it's going to be 10 copper plates in order to get up to general electronics, including power poles and things like that. And so with those two things, and plus the fact that you can't get the red science until you get one crafted science lab, it really streamlines the process for the early game. I think that that's generally a source of frustration for some longtime Factorio players, is that the beginning of the game is just drudgery and you don't really enjoy it. I feel like this change, where you're not actually researching every little thing, has taken some of the guesswork out of being very precise and streamlined again into an early game build that'll make you happy. Nice to see that there's been some changes to some of these icons, radar and electric mining, for example. It's so interesting. The electric mining drill change does remind me of the very, very original electric miners that you saw with Factorio. They have recently updated this tooltip here. The fast inserter, this used to have the blue inserter on the left and then the purple inserter on the right, but now the purple filter inserter is no longer in the game. I believe that Space Age shipped with the purple inserter here, and they have since changed it because the community is so wonderful in letting you know if there's a problem or if there's things to be updated. Nice to see that there's going to be a new bit of module here. We do have the quality module available with the speed module, production module, and the efficiency module. So quality is going to be a thing. We're going to talk about that in just a moment or two. And really, again, the game plays fairly similarly up to, call it chemical science, up to blue science. But maybe the biggest change is that around blue science, you are then going to be able to unlock the rocket silo. Rocket silo used to require all of the sciences. You needed production, you needed utility, etc., etc. Now you just need red, green, and blue science in order to get the rocket silo. Pretty darn trippy. And one of the things I really enjoy about that is that that means that we are sending rockets into space much quicker to get to the next stage of the game. You can probably launch a rocket in probably 2.5 to 4 hours, depending on how quick you are, how Johnny on the spot you are with your rocket building and such. One of the best things about this change, though, as they've adjusted the pacing of the game to get yourself into space, is that the requirement to build these rocket pieces that will send you up into space is much less. The cost to launch a rocket is so much lower than it has ever been. We don't have rocket control pieces anymore. We just have blue circuits, some low density structure, and some rocket fuel in order to make yourself a rocket and get off of the ground. So very interesting there. And so then at this point, I have not even touched my production science or my utility science, purple and yellow. I haven't touched those at all yet, but I am in space after 11 hours. And to be fair, about 4 of those hours were messing around with quality. So interesting thing there that the early game has been streamlined to get you into space. And what is your reward if you do get to this point and you launch a rocket? Folks, you hit tab. It brings up this menu here on the upper left hand, which is surfaces, and you can go immediately first to your space map. Your space map indicates that we are here on the planet Nauvis. And then you do see some new planets that we are going to eventually get to here in our little solar system, Vulcanus is closest to the sun. It's going to be the hot lava planet. There's Gleba, which is one ring further away from the sun than us. It's going to be a lush, verdant type of planet. And then Fulgora. Fulgora, apparently where there was an ancient lost civilization. We're going to have to do some nifty things there. And then Aquilo, furthest from the sun, is going to be the coldest. And that one is going to present some very, very unique challenges. We have a goal today to get to the planet Fulgora before the end of this video. I'm going to make that happen as quickly as we can. I've done all the necessary research to make this happen. We're going to just kind of walk you through what that process looks like. But that being our solar system, we also have a space platform. I have, of course, named my space platform FixFox Orbital Command. You will name it whatever you want to yourself, and you start off with just this little space platform hub. It's really nifty at the very, very beginning. Very, very nifty for this reason. If I just make everything go away like this, I'm not up in space. All these things are going to naturally occur. If I do this, this is exactly what I started off with. Just this one little space platform hub, right? And I've been sending material up, in large part, lots and lots of this space platform foundation. To pull these items out of your space platform hub, you're going to need to just mouse over and hit Q to use your pipette tool to bring that into your hand. Or likewise, you can kind of mouse over this under area and it will also do the same. You're going to be in space an awful lot. You're going to be using the pipette tool to add to your base. Right now, I am using the materials that are in my space platform hub, and it's slowly creeping out. What a nifty way to kind of build here. And then, of course, the question is, well, how do you build if you are not here? Well, if I go in here and I just mouse over and I click on transport belts, I can mouse over and it will automatically bring up whatever we really need here. Let me see if I can actually go all the way back. Can I go all the way back? No, it's going to take way too much time. So we're just going to reload the last deal. I don't want to have to redo all that. But as we're in space, as we are trying to make sure that our platforms are working and everything is working as intended, we have the opportunity to make a new type of science. You can go from red to green, green to blue, and now blue into white science. I am using my asteroid collectors to pick up some random floating objects in space. Those minerals from the asteroids can then be crushed and they can be turned into the byproducts necessary to make the white science. In this case, I am missing, it looks like, ice. I need plenty more of this oxide asteroid chunk in order to get some ice. You can use the ice, of course, to melt that down into water. That'll be good for thruster fuel and such. We also have this carbonic asteroid that'll provide some carbon. And then we do have the metallic asteroids, which will ultimately provide some iron ore. There's no copper ore in space. Very difficult to get copper ore any other way than just simply sending it up or having it in your hand when you go on up. But through this initial startup, it's just meant to get you this white science. And then the white science, you have the opportunity, as I do have some here, I've got 47 bits of white science. I can simply hit left control and click on it, and it will move this from here into this orbital drop slot. It immediately sends that home. If you are familiar with space age, or space exploration, which is the Arendelle modification, you are going to be very, very familiar with the fact that there used to be a lot of fuel costs in order to send stuff up and down into space. There's no cost to send things down, but there is, of course, a cost to send things up. As you just saw there, it took a couple of seconds from that space platform, but we did get the material that came right into this cargo landing pad. Right now, this is simply just in order to supply my science here. So pretty nifty to see that you have to go to space to get the white science, and then the white science actually is a big deal for you for this reason. White science is going to allow you to unlock your logistics system for your bots. If you can get the white science, you can get the blue chests, the green chests, and the purple chests unlocked. And I think that that's going to be incredibly useful and incredibly important when it comes down to one of my new favorite things, which is quality. I'm just going to zoom in right here. This is FixFox trying to play around with the new mechanic known as quality. With the addition of these new quality modules, you are able to get a small percentage of crafted items that are an above higher quality than usual. You start off with the basic common type of situation, and then you move from common into uncommon, so 2 green dots, into rare, that's 3 blue dots, into, I think, oh, I forget what's after that. Uncommon, well, common, uncommon, rare, something, something, and then legendary. It's the same basic formula that you find for most like item progressions in RPG games and things like that. But the nifty thing is that this quality is super fun, not for everything, but for some small insignificant items, maybe not insignificant as the word, maybe some small items that you only need a few of. For example, in my hand here, my engineer, we have a couple of these construction robots that are regular. I've got one uncommon bot and then one rare bot. The energy capacity, the flight time, things like that is 3 times as good on these rare bots. Could you imagine if I had 30 rare robots flying around, how much more effective I'm going to be as an engineer? If I have a base with 5,000 robots, logistic and construction bots, they're probably not all going to be rare or legendary. That's probably just not going to happen. But it's probably very likely that in smaller quantities, you can get some really nice rare items, things like your power armor or your modular armor, maybe a tank, maybe having some higher quality things like that. Every item has a different stat that is affected by quality. So real quick, when I mentioned getting the blue chests unlocked here, the requester chests, if I am saying to myself, look, I'm going to get myself some medium electronic poles, I now have the ability to indicate what quality ingredients I want. If I have normal ingredients, I'm going to get a normal medium pole, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. There you go. Rare to epic to legendary, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then the color scheme matches what you usually find. Let's just say I want to make some rare medium electric poles. Okay. At this point, it's going to only demand these deals. You can't mix and match. You can't have some common with some uncommon items. They all have to be of the same quality and type. But if I do my right-click shift, and then I just paste that requirement into this requester chest, then of course the bots are going to be able to pull from all the other things that are out here. And in this way, I'm going to be able to use my newfound logistics to just craft out of whatever freebies and extras you might happen to find. It's been a little bit of a challenge in some of these builds to modify a way to pick up some of these items. In this case right here, for example, I'm just going to replace that wooden chest with this passive provider chest, and so that the rare materials are going to be able to be picked up and sent over there. It's been fun to have some of the items that are going to be normal like usual, and then find a way to siphon off and to separate the items that are not going to be quite so common. In this case, I just have a box collecting there. In this case, I have a full-on splitter that's splitting uncommon items in that direction, so on and so forth. As it stands, though, I can already tell you I'm going to need just a couple of these. And in this case, this is going to be an example of why quality is so critically important. I don't care how many of these I make, it'll be fine. These are all my now medium electronic poles. Let's throw down a regular electronic pole that's medium. There it is. Let's throw down a other one. Oh my goodness, look how much bigger this is. So regular medium electronic pole, it's got a wire reach of 9. So 9 spaces between them, and then a supply area of 7 by 7, 100 health. These rare ones, though, have a wire reach of 13 and the supply area of 11 by 11. That is massive. That is huge. Why is this important? There are some builds that you are going to be able to make in Factorio now that you could not have done prior. You could not have made these prior. For example, you might say to yourself, well, FixFox, why don't I just use a substation? Well, yeah, a substation potentially is going to do about the same. It's going to do better right now. This is an 18 by 18 grid of power that's supplied versus this 11 by 11. In that way, it's vastly superior. But this is a 4 by 4 grid. If I just need to slip in some power into a little teeny tiny space, the same size as a light, for example, I don't have this 2 by 2. Well, then just get yourself some really nice medium electronic poles, and then your builds can take on a brand new life. The ability to modify and redesign as you are building up your factory and as quality expands is going to be so very cool. I legitimately spent 2 to 4 hours just playing around with some of these quality things, and it's going to be so fun. And I have to tell you, it's lovely because you can actually unlock quality very, very early. I'm not saying that it's going to be the best thing for your factory. Don't get lost in the weeds simply doing that. But the nice thing is that you're going to have the opportunity to play around with that sooner rather than later if you so desire. A couple of other interesting things I thought were interesting. So I like the changes here to the ghosts when we are using blueprints and things like that. The color here is a little bit more blue, so it's a little easier to see. And more importantly, I can now go in to the ghost and I can edit the building and what's going to be assembled. For example, in this case, I can do my edits before the building is even put down. In the past, you had to wait until the construction bot brought the items and then you could indicate what they were going to be. But now I can do that beforehand, and that works out just so much better. So that's a very, very nice change. One other nifty change I want to show you that I really do enjoy. I haven't really done a lot with it just yet, but it's going to be the ability to change the inputs and the outputs of some of these buildings. For example, oil refineries. It would make a lot more sense to be able to simply hit the letter H and to change where my petroleum and my heavy oil come out of. I can swap them back and forth now, whereas before I could not. The water and the oil inputs, I can swap those back and forth. That's going to be so very, very critically important. These types of builds, I'm going to have to redo things, but I'll be able to do something like this where I say, well, I'm going to want these like this, and oh, let's just make sure that we have heavy oil together here. Let's just make sure that we have water here, and then, oh, this is going to go this way. Before, you couldn't do this, and your builds had to have at least a little bit of space between them, whereas but by now, with this new change, I think that we're going to be able to make builds a little bit more tighter, a little bit more compact. Again, Space Age as a DLC, the ability to refine things and get more efficient has never been better. Things have never been better. So, let me just take a quick memory jog. Is there anything else I felt was really critically important early on? Really, the early game plays about as similarly as it has ever done. Oh, one thing that's worth noting here, the train UI, the user interface for things like trains, has had a little bit of a facelift. You got this new drive remotely thing that you can do here, which is kind of nifty. And then train stations, there's been a little bit of a new change. The LTM modification that was used for trains has more or less made it into base game Factorio. In fact, there's many modifications that people have made to make Factorio better and better and better over time that simply are no longer necessary because the Factorio developers have brought those exact modifications into the base game, and we are happy for it. Folks, you have to drop all of your item inventory in order to travel on the spaceship into space, but I've just done that. I've dropped everything. Note that if I had even a little bit of ammo for like my flamethrower, I could not travel to the space platform. But if I drop everything, including ammunition, this button will highlight. It'll say travel to space platform. I click on it. I go to FixFox orbital command, and folks, we are launching ourselves into space. We don't need any kind of special equipment. There's not like a thruster suit or something like that that's necessary. When we go into space, everything is more or less going to be remotely done. We're going to be sitting in our little command center area. And look at this. Look at the clouds. From the ground, through the clouds, into space. We are in the little space capsule, and we're doing an Elon Musk SpaceX sort of shoot and catch as we land back in space in our space platform hub. And so now we are in space, we are not on the ground. What is potentially the issue with that? Of course, if we go back here to the planet, to Nalvis, in the event that we are attacked while we are away, we cannot directly respond to things like biter attacks. For this reason, I would recommend that we just kind of have this ready to go, where ideally you have a wall or you have something else ready to go. It's not going to be too big of a problem, hopefully, with biters. Maybe you've already taken some great care to make sure that you're not going to be in trouble. But maybe something like this, where you can just copy and paste and throw these down, just in the event that an enemy does break through your lines. It would be very, very sad if you had to come home and waste one full rocket just in order to deal with a single spitter that was somewhere in the very, very middle of your base. But I digress. You could do that if you wanted to. In the meantime, we are up here. And we've already mentioned the white science. We've mentioned a little bit of some of these other things as far as, asteroids being collected with these cute little arms. Notice I do have gun turrets here. These gun turrets are meant to prevent some bigger asteroids from hitting the space platform and damaging it. As far as I can tell, that only really matters when we have an issue with traveling from one planet to the other planet, which we are about to do in just 1 second. I do just want to point out, by the way, one of the other places where quality can really, really matter. These solar panels are rare. They're putting out 288 kilowatts versus 188 or 180 kilowatts from a regular solar panel. That's over 100 extra kilowatt hours from a rare to a small solar panel, which matters a lot in space because space calculates your weight of your space platform. Every little bit of extra space platform is weight, and that is going to impact how quickly your thrusters work and how well and efficiently they work. That's going to impact just an awful lot of things. And so weight and compactness in space will matter, and so higher quality ingredients will matter in that way. I've got a little setup here where I'm melting ice, and that's going into this thruster fuel, which we are pulling from the carbon from these asteroids we are collecting. We've also got this oxidizer, which is also from the water and from some of the iron ore. And this is going into these pipes here. I do believe that we can make it to our new planet, which is going to be Fulgora, which is where we're heading today. If I click on my space platform hub in the very center, and if I click this add station, treat it like it is a train stop. We have Nalvis, we have Fulgora. I'm going to click on Fulgora, and just like with the train, I'm going to click on this little go to arrow, and let's just see if we can make it all the way home. Or not, maybe not home, but all the way to Fulgora. I do anticipate, because I've made this run 2 times. One time was an utter failure, and one time was successful, albeit we took some crazy damage. I do believe that we are going to lose this right-hand thruster because this pipe is not connected. Note that it's an underground pipe, sure, but you are trying to do an underground pipe through something that doesn't really exist. I would have to add on to my space platform over here to make sure that we were getting additional what is that, thruster fuel? Yeah, so this is going to shut off very quickly. It's just using what's left in the pipes, but that's actually better for us. The faster that you travel through space, the more asteroids you are going to find coming at you sooner and sooner. As you can tell, we've already lost a couple of our various belongings here. We are short on ammunition, which I'm going to try and just place in here. And as these big chunks of asteroids come close, we can blow them up, and then we can, of course, pull them into our base to supply our base. But folks, I've got a major problem that I'm still working on in this little space platform. If this looks messy, trust me, it's very messy. But I need to redesign this so that way I can actually get moving quickly and defending, because all these asteroid chunks mean me harm. And we are quickly running out of this red ammunition that I brought with me. So, what to do here? As you see that the one right-hand thruster has gone offline, I could restore that again. I choose not to because we're just going to limp along to the planet Fulgora. On the right-hand side here, you do see this little progress bar, and it is slowly going up. It indicates we're going at 26 kilometers per second. We do have the weight of 176 tons, and then like the thrust values, things like that. Damage taken, that's going to be an interesting stat, and unfortunately, I think that we're going to end up having that happen to us a lot. Okay, and as you can tell, my gun turrets are not able to keep up with what's coming into play here. I'm going to see if I can maybe help this out a little bit. I'm trying to make sure that my assembling machines can go a little bit faster, but really it comes down to these electric furnaces. They are not getting enough materials to supply quickly enough. As things are destroyed, if I have them in my inventory here, we will be able to just simply repair them. I do not have additional asteroid collectors, and so we are down to only one asteroid collector. We are about halfway through. Are we going to survive to Fulgora? Will we get to Fulgora or not? Remember, we are right here, folks. We are in the space platform hub in the very center. If this space platform hub is destroyed, we, as we are in it, are simply destroyed as well. I do believe that you lose all of this progress that you've made up to this point. I do believe that you simply lose the game. You lose the platform. You have to respawn or reload the game. And so space travel is going to be a little bit nifty. Again, I've done this journey twice. One time I made it, and one time I did not make it. I'm hoping that with only one thruster that we're going to go slow enough that the damage is going to be negligible. Maybe there's a certain amount of luck that goes into this. I can't possibly say, but one way or the other, we are taking some heavy losses. Heavy losses indeed. I'm going to get rid of some of this. Just going to try and repair bases wherever I can. And I'm hoping hoping and failing that these asteroids are not going to kill us. This is a disaster. But so long as we stay alive here, I don't think that we're going to lose. Funny how the base continues to make the white science. We are in low power mode though. We can always go into this show electric network here. Again, I'm in the space platform hub. And it shows us we are dreadfully underpowered in some instances. Although it looks like as more things are destroyed, funny enough, we're doing even better. While we are here, we cannot craft anything in space. Even if I have the raw materials in here, if I had like so many, I don't know what you'd call it. If I had so many raw materials, I couldn't just be making ammo and then sticking them in myself. You can't craft anything while you're in space, while you're in this space platform. Folks, our one engine, our one thruster is continuing to work. We are definitely going to have enough power to get there. Again, will we stay alive? I'm sure we will. Other things that are nifty here, by the way, I think I've seen a lot of really cool designs. I think that my future designs with my spaceship or my space platform, the things that have to get me from point A to point B, I think it's going to be many gun turrets in maybe like an arrowhead shape. Perhaps it's going to be 1 or 2 asteroid collectors in the very front and then asteroid collectors on the side. I don't know the very best way of doing this, as this one asteroid just went through my entire base there. My goodness. But I think that there's going to be a lot of interesting different designs that we can do as the space platform hub takes a little bit of damage there. And I'm going to be very interested to see what designs you come up with, what's going to be the most efficient, what's also going to work, what's going to make your white science production be just fine and get you to planets without too much issue. Folks, we are now stopped at the planet Fulgora. We did make the journey, but we are obviously very much worse for the wear. I hope that you do much better in your endeavors in getting to another planet than I have. We can just click on this button that says drop to a planet. We are, again, stopped at Fulgora here. And sight unseen, I think we're just going to hit this drop to Fulgora. We're going to, once again, hop into our little SpaceX capsule. And are we going to go down through the clouds again? Re-entry. And here we are. Folks, for the first time, as far as you can tell anyway, we are here on the planet Fulgora. All I know about Fulgora is that there used to be a civilization that was once here, long since destroyed, and we have to more or less scavenge from this planet. Tips and tricks are going to be in the upper right corner. It's going to be right below your blueprint library. And it's been very nice to have a Fulgora briefing, talking about lightning mechanics and things like that. Also, the space platform. Factorio has always done a very good job with their tutorial levels and with the tips and hints to help you be very successful as a builder. So remember in the upper right corner to use those tips and tricks an awful lot. As I'm exploring this planet, I do see a Fulgoran lightning attractor. I think that you see the lightning striking, and I do know that at this point it will take out about half of my health if I am struck by one of these lightning bolts. There's this little indicator that indicates that I am in danger of being struck by lightning, but I do make it over to this little pile. It looks like a colossal Fulgoran ruin here that I can right click and mine. I believe that these scrap yards are essentially mineable, just like with a burner mining drill, electric mining drill, big miner drill, things like that. And so rather than have copper, rather than have iron ore, this planet simply has scrap that you must recycle. I went to this planet in large part because this just popped up here. Recycling was finished. You automatically will research the recycling by getting a certain amount of this vault ruin here. The recycler reverses most processes except for smelting and chemistry. It returns 25% of the ingredients on average. Fluid ingredients are not regained. And so we have this new thing in our hand here. It's this scrap. And if I go on over, I can just automatically from my hand redo some of the scrap. I'm just going to right click a couple of times. And you can see that you're expected to get some amount of blue processing units, of red advanced circuits, some low density, some solid fuel, some steel, some concrete, some batteries, some ice, some stone, etc. And as I am going through and I'm right clicking again and again and again, this is going by very quickly. I'm recycling this all by hand, and these items are being returned to me. And from here, I should be able to, I do believe, I should be able to build up a base from scratch. I don't think I actually have to travel to Fulgora with a backpack full of things, although if I want to, I can always go tab and go back to my FixFox orbital command, and I can send down everything that's up here. Remember, I'm just left shift clicking and it's going down to these orbital drop slots. And I do believe that very, very soon I'm going to be seeing these orbital drops coming in hot. And there they are. And then all of a sudden I've got everything from my orbital command is now here with me. I got a feeling that all these little goodies are going to be very, very useful to help me not simply have to start from scratch, or rather, perhaps the saying should be start from scrap. Folks, with that being said, we have officially gotten to the new planet of Fulgora, our little base on Nalvis. This is definitely not mega base status. I simply got up to the blue chemical science. I launched a rocket. I built myself a space platform. I have traveled from Nalvis over to Fulgora, and I am here now, ready to start maybe all over again. I hope that you enjoy this. I hope that I get to survive this planet and any of the scary things that might come my way. And I hope that I'm able to go towards the stars and see very, very much of what Factorio Space Age has to offer me. Folks, thank you so much for the time. Look after you, look after your friends, look after your family. I am grateful for the opportunity to be here with you today. Look after everything good and wonderful in your life. My name is FixFox, and I'm looking forward to doing more Factorio with you in the future. Take very good care. See you around.